All right, here they are out of the box. They're aluminum construction. Obviously, they say they're Ducati Performance model right there. I'm sorry, Ducati Performance stamped on there. They're actually Ducati lights, front blinkers. You can get the set, but these are the fronts as I understand it, not the rears. So hopefully these will light up the amber color. Hopefully that works out, but they'll fit in the stock location. And what's important to note, these are for the 2020, I think from the 2018, 19, and 20 model Monster, and they have this specific plug and play that's going to plug into the factory harness there, and that's just important, something I just want to do. I didn't want to solder and cut and splice or do anything, so these are specific to the Monster. So if you buy some online, there's plenty online that you can see. Actually, there's not a lot, but there's some that'll show a bullet connector, and you definitely need this connector as I understand it if these are what's exactly precise for my bike. But here they are. Take a little bit closer look. They're going to fit into the factory position right here. This is rubber on the lower portion, lightweight aluminum up here, and not sequential, meaning that they go, that they'll buzz up, as the blinker goes, light into a full light. They're just one and all, and so you can get those. I think Ducati's making those for the 2021, 22, and the 23 model that they've revamped these, but for the previous years they did not put that feature into the turn signals, which is kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. Are these front blinkers necessary to have on this machine? No, they're not. Basically what they are is they're just an improvement. They hopefully will be brighter, and what's important to me, I love my Ducati Monster and I have so much fun with it. This is one of the best motorcycles I've owned over my 40 years of riding. I really enjoy and love every moment that I get on this and I ride this. So when I look at it, when I walk up to it, when I'm walking away from it and I'm looking at it, I love looking at it. It's a beautiful bike. And so little things like this, are little additions like the little bar ends, they're red. I have black ones, aftermarket that came on the bike. It's just appealing to me. It just lights up little sensors in my brain that say, like it. And
some other things. The shifter that I put on, the shifter that will allow you to do clutchless upshifts and downshifts is amazing too. So if you have this bike or any of the other Monsters that isn't the higher model that comes with that, and I would look at getting it, even though the price is a little steep. And I just want to say, the price of these is not cheap either, and unfortunately that's just the way it is. But it's just to each their own. If you want to do it and you want to dress up your bike, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I said, do you need it? No. These front blinkers will be just fine. But if you're the person that wants to specialize your bike out and personalize it and and make it your own, and you get a lot of satisfaction by walking up to it and seeing these little mini stock blinkers on there, then it's worth it. So I think these were $125 with tax. I think they were $115 before tax. But that's how much they cost. But we're gonna put them on, and I have no idea. I have not looked really in depth into how to do this. But they mount into the factory position right there. So we're going to do this next. And so hang tight if you're wanting to do this, or future do it. All right, so it appears this is what's the first step. Get you a little socket with, either an Allen wrench, if you have an Allen wrench, or you have a socket that will allow you to have that built into it. Just come up here and set it to come off. Loosen that. Remove this. It's very, very congested in here. A lot of wires and a lot of stuff. Hopefully I can get to this without taking the front headlight off. Possibly, but we'll see. Maybe there's a screw on the inside there that needs to be undone. And there is. Instead of, don't do my mistake and go ahead and pry that open and damage it, there's a little screw in there that looks like it's got to be taken out. So watch me and learn. If you were taking this completely off the bar and wanting just to completely dismantle the front headlight, then you would probably have seen that that was the case. But there the cover comes off and flips on the floor. All right. Well, as you can see, I didn't damage it. It's plastic, so it didn't get damaged, and it's got a screw right there. Obviously, this screw goes into that, and I just so I don't lose it. It does look like it had red Loctite on it. So now we should be able to pull this down, and it looks like the only way is to disconnect it and pull it out that way, because obviously this is too big to go through. But that's the next thing, is just locating the connector pin in there, disconnecting it, and pulling it out. All right, before I do this, I've almost forgot to was going to check the brightness out. So, whew, got dark in here. Let me turn. Okay, we're going to check the blinker and see how bright the blinker looks. Almost skipped this process and took them off, but we're just going to, verify how bright this one is. I don't know what that looks like from the camera in almost the total darkness of the garage. Not that bright. This are right up here in the center. You can't get to them. There is so much stuff going on behind this headlight. There's no way to get up there, and it's also probably secured. So you've got to take this screw loose, and there is one, I'm not exaggerating, it is up even further than I'm pointing my finger. So you can't get a socket on the other side. So I have this one a set of Allen keys that has, you can go at an angle. Hopefully you can see that. This is, you can come at, at the head at an angle, and it's pretty much needed. So to get that broken loose, I've got a little pair of vice grips that I can attach to that and break that loose. So that has been successful for me. You're gonna need a flashlight to see up in here. It's dark, or maybe it's just my 52-year-old eyesight, but have your little flashlight. I got pretty decent lighting here in the garage, and man, it's so far up in there, and there's so much in the way. But it is really tricky to get a tool to it. You want to be careful because you don't mar up your frame, or and I recommend putting a towel right here, if you can see right here over your fender. I'm not going to move the camera, but you need to put a towel because something falls out, screw falls down on your fender, and puts a little nick in your fender. If you're one that doesn't want to do that, I suggest putting a towel over that. It's really far up in there and at a weird, super awkward angle. But if you try to tackle this, you'll figure it out. But I'm gonna get this taken out and resume the video. Sure as shit, man. These are the bolts that are going in or up from the back side, up at the top. That's what they look like. And they when you loosen them up, they fall in there into the wiring. And if you just dropped one of these straight down onto your fender, and then you would have some definite bumps and little nicks on your fender. So, of course, when I pulled it out, it went boop and hit on the fender, but I got a towel there. So just, if it cares to you, then that's important to do. But also too, on the back side, I still had the little nuts loosened on the lower portion, and I took those all the way off, and then the headlight comes off and it sits. So I'm just gonna put it on the towel, and then I can get to the little blinker harness. But here you can see the mounting, the top mounting portion right here for the top of the light, and then the rear of the light is just right there in the corners. Let's take a look at the blinker and see how it looks compared to after I take it off, and look at the Ducati Performance blinker added. Just get a good view. All right, once you take this headlight off, it gives you a lot more access. There's a metal bracket right here, or a guide, my flashlight right here, that makes it where you can't slip this piece down while the headlight is on. If you could just pop this out, and this allows you to see a lot more. But the wire coming out of the blinker runs right here, and can't do it with my hand holding the camera, but it obviously comes up here and it plugs in here. So we're just gonna take that off and then add the new one, and I'll show you how once I get a little bit further ahead. All right, so here's the wire coming from the front left side blinker, and it just goes right to this little box right here, and it plugs in right there. So we're just gonna pop that out, and then take it out and then put the other one in, and we should be good to go. Okay, this is the center little rubber grommet that's holding the right side and the left side blinkers in, and this is the connection point right here. There's a little, you're gonna have to separate these two to plug the other one in and get this one out, and this then mounts on a little area right back here that's on the steering head. So you can pull this out to gain access to be able to try to get these unclipped. I'm still unclear how these come apart, but I'm sure I'll just figure it out here. They're with a screwdriver. Be real careful, you don't want to break these, and we'll move on from there. All right, like I said, I pulled it out, and then there's the little piece that I'm gonna push out and separate these two. So hopefully you can see that right there. So you had to pull it through. All right, now it's apart. You just have to push your screwdriver down on it and pull it apart. Push in, pull out. Just like that, comes off. Now you can take this one apart just like I showed you. There's a bolt on the back side. Take that out. There's a bolt once you get it loose and you can take the headlight down, then you can move this down, get it past this bar right here, this retaining bar, pull it off, and now you're just going to run this out. They don't make it easy. So there it is out, and then you're going to pull this out. Now we've got this out, so we will run the piece into the side. Then that mounts just like the factory one. So now we can put the cover back on here and insert the bolt in here, and that's what I'm going to do next. All right, here was the other side. Remember, it's right here. And I just unconnected it, took it out, and here we go. Here's the other side. So I'm just going to pull it through and attach the other one, and it goes just like that. Here's the big reveal. I've got them plugged in, so you want to check them before you put everything back. So we're going to turn it on. All right, and they were correct. They're lighting up amber for the front. Again, not sequential where they go bloop, bloop, bloop. But just on and off. I don't know how much brighter that is, but I think they definitely look cooler. And then the right hand side is working. Don't mean to have that headlight shining in your eyesight, but you got your little rubber little ties that you can put everything back together and put it back as neat as possible. It's going to be a little bit of a hassle to put this back on because of the location and getting those in so that this is firmly mounted back, but I would call that a success. So hopefully you've got something out of this, and this will help someone, you know, 1 or 2 people. That's all I need.
All right, this is the next day, and I just want to express, is this worth it? No. I mean, the lights look good, the blinkers look good, they function well, they're bright, they improve the look, 100%, in my opinion. I took my mirrors off and things look different. I'm gonna give that a try. The bike looks a lot more sleek without the mirrors on, but how much I use my mirrors and how they work and when they're gone, I'm gonna just test that out. But blinkers look awesome, but what a freaking mess. I've worked on this for hours. This is actually the next day because I had to give up. I had to take a break and come back today with fresh eyes and a fresh outlook. The difficulty of this is there's 2 bolts right here and right here and right here and right here. So there's 4. And the top one's the way you come in with the way the frame bends, in a V right here. There's just no good way to get up in there and all the way up to the front. It's mind-blowing, and I've said more curse words and been more upset and thrown things in here than I care to express or tell you literally. So good luck, if you take on putting these blinkers on, getting that done and not going freaking bonkers. I still have to do a lot. I had to take some cables out so that I could get my Allen wrench to spin, because it's up in here and you're having to hold this and turn this, and as this thing spins, because this thin long piece right here is what helps you to get all the way from the back up here to the front to the top, and it's like at a really freaking funky angle. But enough of that. Enough complaining. I've done enough of that already. But if you want to do this, just take heed. It's a terrible thing putting it back together. Everything comes apart much easier than it does than putting it back sometimes. So other than that, do it at your own risk, and let me know if you had a much better time or a horrible time. I just want to mention real quick, if you had a helper, I'm a one-man show. You got to have someone with a bright flashlight shining exactly where you need it. All this is under here, and my vision at 52 years old, my night vision is not as good as it was when I was 10, 15. It's actually pretty bad. So, oh my gosh, make sure you don't get any scuffs. But yeah, if you have someone that can hold a flashlight for you, a helper, be a life changer. But again, I'm a one-man show, so I'm sitting there trying to hold it on my neck, trying to hold it with one hand while I fidget with this hand. It's just impossible. But just want to pass that along.
I still don't have everything back together, but before I go insane, I just want to show you what it looks like. And you can compare the before and after. Looks pretty good. All right, just to recap and finish off this video, waiting to the next day really helped. I got pretty frustrated just because there's so many wires in that area and the big cable harnesses that are not flexible. It's just a real pain in the butt to try to get those top bolts back in and have them thread correctly. I just finally today, the next day, I just really put my head to the grindstone and put them in there, even if they were crooked, and just tighten those things down the best way I could. And then I want to share you with this tool that I came up with. It's it's a basic tool, but you know, different parts to the tool that'll help you to get into these really weird angles. And so maybe just to show you what I used, it helped. And then I had to remove a lot of those wires. I had to push them around and zip tie them to get them out of the way, so that right where my tool needed to be, all the wires were, and the big harness and the brake line, and just made for pretty miserable putting it back together. But it's finished now. It looks great. I'm happy. And if this is up to you, if you want to do it, just look at my video and use it to the best of your ability. All right. Thank you, and have a great day, great night, wherever you are. Come back for more videos. All right. Bye-bye.